Hi, this is Cheryl Stelte with Star of Divine Light Institute. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my great friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up now.
Time to Shine Today podcast. Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I have an awesome sauce interview with my good friend Cheryl Stelte from the Star of Divine Light Institute. We had a super fun conversation. I have pages of notes because I've always been super curious about chakras, about energy, about kind of God living inside you, expressing yourself, having empowerment. And that's what you listeners really are seeking for. And on this, I literally have like 3 pages of notes that I took during the interview. So it might not look, if you're watching it, like I'm paying attention. I'm actually paying way more attention because I was typing out notes as I was interviewing my good friend Cheryl. And her story and mine go so much hand in hand, side to side, that it's like she's my sister from another mister. So without further ado, please, I got to say this, please smash the subscribe or like button. My sponsors and affiliates absolutely love that. So again, without further ado, here's my really good friend, Cheryl Stelte from the Star of Divine Light Institute. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast. Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I have an awesome sauce interview with my good friend Cheryl Stelte from the Star of Divine Light Institute. We had a super fun conversation. I have pages of notes because I've always been super curious about chakras, about energy, about kind of God living inside you, expressing yourself, having empowerment. And that's what you listeners really are seeking for. And on this, I literally have like 3 pages of notes that I took during the interview. So it might not look, if you're watching it, like I'm paying attention. I'm actually paying way more attention because I was typing out notes as I was interviewing my good friend Cheryl. And her story and mine go so much hand in hand, side to side, that it's like she's my sister from another mister. So without further ado, please, I got to say this, please smash the subscribe or like button. My sponsors and affiliates absolutely love that. So again, without further ado, here's my really good friend, Cheryl Stelte from the Star of Divine Light Institute. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have my awesome sauce friend, the owner of Star of Divine Light Institute, Cheryl Stelte. And Cheryl and I had an off-mic conversation about our love for Colorado, because that's where she resides, and also had some funny stories about my state where I reside now, Florida. Maybe we'll share a few of those stories on the mic. But Cheryl's a spiritual coach, master healer, speaker, and best-selling author. As the founder of the Star of Divine Light Institute and the Azarias Energy Healing Certification Program, she empowers mature women to overcome blocks and step into their authentic power. With 30 plus years of expertise in healing, coaching, shamanism, and meditation, Cheryl specializes in guiding women to breakthrough transformations when nothing else has worked. And Cheryl, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Red.
Yeah?
Thank you. It's red. Red is so fiery, and I'm very much of the fire element.
Love it. Love it. What's your sign, by the way?
Libra.
Libra? Okay. I'm Pisces. So, but I don't know anything about it. I just thought it'd be a cool question to ask to start the pod. But
I don't know a lot either about astrology.
This is awesome. No, I've watched you on YouTube on different podcasts that I respect, and the information that you put out and how you break it down for someone that is, I'll use the word lightly, but inept to that world. And now I can really understand it, right? And Squad, also, she has 2 books that I'm going to be doing a giveaway. So please stick around to the end. We will do a book giveaway then. But Cheryl, can you get us to the roots? Because I heard you on other podcasts kind of talking about being married to a narcissist, having challenges through your life and stuff. But I would like to get to the roots of where you kind of were, what brought you up to the level where people immensely respect you, like myself, but also being highly sought after.
Thank you for asking that question. I realized pretty early on that my favorite thing in life is growth, is personal growth. And I've certainly had a lot of my own challenges. Absolutely, absolutely. And we all do. And what I've come to realize is that every single soul on the planet, and we are all souls in human form, have come here to grow.
Mm.
And I was raised Catholic. 30 plus years ago, meditation was not a word that anybody around me was using. Yoga was just starting to take hold.
Right, right.
A long time ago, and I grew up in Alberta,
Hmm.
Canada, so not an alternative community
Right.
in the province, not sort of forward thinking. And yet, and one of the things I've donated to the suicide
Yes,
prevention,
thank you very
and
much.
it was actually through my brother's own suicide. He took his life that led me to my spiritual journey and started that. And I started doing my own healing and moving into empowerment and just haven't stopped. And it was soon enough that people started asking me for my help. And so I would give it, and that led to the development of my career and writing 3 books.
Amazing. And you're kind of like my sister from another mister because my little brother took his life as well. So again, thank you so much for donating to the cause, and which also a few of my fellow veterans have taken their lives too. So I have a huge vendetta against it. But with what kind of was that switch that kind of flipped where you lost your brother to that devastation? So, but what was it that kind of pulled you into kind of the healing through the ways that you're doing now, not going the Western medicine and getting drugged up to not feel anything, but what was that trigger that really kind of flipped you to move forward with it?
Well, it prompted me, I will tell you the truth.
Yeah,
His spirit came to me on the beach with my friend. I
we are
had a
so much
friend.
the same. Oh my gosh,
I'm
go ahead.
like, oh, I was laying on the beach. She was practicing this kinesiology, and we're waiting for the tide to go out. I'm living on Vancouver Island because
Mm,
we're going to pick oysters. And I'm laying there, and suddenly there was this huge ball of white light above me with so much love. And I knew it was his spirit. And I had no experience like that whatsoever. And my friend had never channeled, but she had been on a spiritual journey longer than me. And he spoke to me through her, and his message was to start meditating.
okay.
And I was just like, wow. And when I started meditating, so I found a class, I signed up. But what I didn't realize, I developed the skill to access my subconscious early on without realizing what I was doing. So
Right.
I didn't actually learn the science of what I was doing until 20 years later.
Wow. And again, I'm gonna kind of go back and say we're so aligned because my spiritual journey in kind of adding kind of the yoga, the pranayama, the just kind of going a lot more spiritual was I had, I don't know if it was a dream or a vision or what, but I was on my bed and my little brother was sitting on the edge of it, like how he was afraid to always wake me up when because I was his older brother and I beat him up if he woke me up, but he would like sit on the edge of bed and look at me and like tap me, right? And it was that. And that was like, he just said to me, goes, go serve. That's what he said. He's like, go serve people because he passed away in 2009. And obviously the real estate market, which I was heavily invested in, kind of crashed and I had really nothing. I was like, dude, what am I going to do? And he just said, go serve. And that's when I launched Time to Shine Today and blessed to have over 176,000 subscribers, email subscriber. Thank you, squad. And it was just from there. And it came from that. So, oh my gosh, are we aligned? This is amazing with
We
that. But
are. It is something else, isn't
yeah,
it?
yes, it is. But also there was action that you kind of had to take where you just, for a lack of a better term, flying blind for that time in a sense where until you really, when was the time where you really locked in to this spiritual journey? Because you said you were just kind of doing it without really knowing why you're doing it, almost like consciously incompetent in a sense to get to where you were consciously competent. You know what I'm saying? Where that's what I
Well,
got from what you said.
yeah, yeah. So it was very early on, over 30 years ago. What started to come up was my early childhood. And I didn't realize the depth of healing that I was doing for myself. But I started to notice that my life started to change. So my brother who took his life was suffering from obviously from serious depression, but when I discovered that meditation could heal me, I actually had been recently diagnosed with depression and was on antidepressants. And I went off those antidepressants. And within 3 months of starting to meditate and never had to go back on. And I was on very strong. My doctor said to me, "You are seriously depressed,
Oh,
seriously."
yeah.
And so I just thought, rather meditate than take that
Yes.
medication.
Yeah.
And I noticed how quickly my life started to change.
Hmm.
So I divorced my husband. I was a single mother, and I had no idea what my future held.
Right.
So I was living below the poverty line, and I thought, I'm not going on welfare.
Right.
Somehow I'm going to do this. And my life started to change rapidly. So I was healing myself. And what I didn't realize then, I was clearing the blocks to my own empowerment. And so I would talk with my friends about what was happening for me. And next thing I knew, I was leading a meditation group and people were coming. And then I went back to school and I studied interior design. I was internally guided. And I thought, how am I going to do this? And the bank loaned me the money and off I went. They even
Yeah.
loaned me the money to make the payments on the loan as a
Wow.
single mother. I was like, and I started a spiritual interior design business. And that's when I really started serving people in a greater way. And it was just so fulfilling.
Yeah. Is it like a feng shui kind of feeling? Like you say, kind of a spiritual interior design? Because again, I'm still kind of locked into the real estate world here in South Florida. And we do bring in people that have kind of the spiritual to set up. Well, actually, the buyers, they have their own people. But like, what do you mean by spiritual interior design?
Oh, it's more about it's so I did study feng shui with Denise Lin. I did a
Okay.
certification program, instinctive feng shui, but much deeper than that,
Okay.
more at a soul level and energetically.
Ah,
For
okay.
example, it was about helping people express through their homes, have their homes reflect who they are at the deepest level. I would also help people sell their homes. So people would contact me and say, "My house has been on the market. I heard about you. It's been
Hmm.
on the market for over a year and it just hasn't sold." And so
Hmm.
I could walk through and I could feel the energy. I could feel what was going on that was holding that house back from being sold.
Right.
And that suggested changes and boom, it would always sell. So it's being able to feel the energy and clearing blocks. We are energetic beings.
Yes.
And and so, Scott, I do chakra readings on
Hmm.
people now. So I can
The
actually
energy, right? That we all have. Yeah.
back then I could just feel energy. I couldn't see it. But when I do chakra readings, I don't see the chakras. I don't see energy as you see them in pictures with all the colors of the
Right.
mandalas. I actually see them as light.
Okay.
Kirlian photography has proven that we are made of light. And
Yes.
so I can see in people where your light is shining brightly. I
Mm.
can see in a home where energy is flowing well, and I can see and feel where the blocks are and what they're about. And so those are the things that people need to clear. And it's part of your soul's evolution to heal and clear those things so you can grow and evolve to the next level.
So, do you do work with them personally to kind of find their energy where their energy is at, and then put that within the interior design part of it? Okay, because I'm very fascinated with this. Do you like do energy work with them personally away from the house or within the house, and then kind of go set things up, or like how does that work? I'm super curious
But
about this.
I mean, I'm not involved in my interior design business anymore.
Sure.
Don't promote that.
Mhm.
But when I am working with clients, I do have people that will say, there's something going on with my house. They had a mold infestation,
Mm.
or it's a sick house, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And so for my existing clients, either in my throat chakra program or however we're working together, I can just close my eyes. I can go through the house. So I'll
Okay.
often get, images of the house or a video you can walk me through, and I can feel what's going on and where the energy is stuck.
That's
where
excellent.
things are not working well for you and where the energy is flowing well.
That it, so would you consider yourself kind of like a coach or a consultant or a coach sultant? Like what would you kind of consider yourself, Cheryl, then? Again, because I'm just a coach. Like I don't consult people. I'm blessed to work with millionaires, a billionaire, this and that. And like they forgot more about their businesses than I'll ever know. But I'm just my superpower is curiosity. And I know that everyone knows what they want. They just don't know how to talk themselves into it. So I live from more of a coach standpoint. Where how about you over at the Star of Divine?
I call myself a spiritual coach and master healer.
Ooh,
I've been doing a lot of healing for a very long time. And
right.
so consulting does fit in with that. You
Yeah.
can also call me an intuitive. That's
Okay.
more
Yeah.
what I'm doing. It's
That was the
spiritual.
word I was looking for earlier, by the way,
Yeah,
is intuitive, right?
yeah. More of an intuitive for when that is required. But that's not what I advertise because I'm into supporting others in their own empowerment.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And how long was that journey from starting with the kind of interior design into supporting others and their journeys?
That's a good question. That was about it was about 4 years.
Okay.
5 years before 4 years before I started my
And he
spiritual
evolved from it.
interior design business. That's right.
Right. It's beautiful. So as a coach, what do you feel makes a great coach?
I think what makes a great coach is being able to see the greatness in another and supporting them and discovering that for themselves.
That's beautiful. And how about you are in a discovery session to make sure you're the right horse for the course. It's my way of saying the right coach for them, right? Like during that kind of discovery conversation, is there anything you use kind of secret sauce wise, if you don't mind sharing, to maybe help them shine a light on that initial blind spot you guys might be working towards?
Yes, yes. I will often work with or ask about the emotions. How does that make you feel in your life? What's
Right,
going on for you to
right.
really go into the emotions? Because unexpressed emotions or emotions that are not felt hold us back. We are energetic beings, we are emotional beings, and emotions are energy in motion. So
Yes.
it's really helping them discover where they are at energetically,
Love
and that
that.
is through the emotions. How are they feeling now about a particular situation? What's going on in their life? What is their inner knowing?
Sure.
A lot of people I work with, they know they're meant for more. They know they have blocks, and whatever they've done in the past is not working for them.
Right.
And they want to get to that next level. So, how does that feel? And how do they want to feel?
That's beautiful, and I love that you come in to them from a non-judgmental place, kind of holding that mirror in front of them so they can see, obviously holding them accountable to it, but also coming from an energy level. And like for me, kind of going back to that time when I started leaning into a little bit more spiritual, it was like I didn't believe in energy like that. But my coach, who I've had now for 20 something years, we were at her house and I had traveled to see her. And we were at her house and she hit a key on her piano and one of the chandeliers moved. She's like, how did that happen if energy is not actually all around us? And it was like right there, believer, boom. And I really jumped in. It was her way of saying, listen, dummy, it is real. You know what I'm saying? She's not like that. She's a lot like you, right? But she was just, it was kind of like my way of like a wake up call to it, right? So maybe we're in that discovery conversation. Is there any good question that you wish they would ask you, but maybe never do?
That's a great question. It's I think it's more about a question like, how far do you think I could really go? What do you how do you see me in my capacity? Because I believe we are all powerful beyond belief, powerful beyond what we can currently imagine, because our blocks are getting in the way. So if someone were to say to me, how do you see me, so I can reflect back to them
Mm,
their greatness, then that's a question because people won't go there. They
Right.
don't go there. And it's sort of like, yes, we can set goals,
Hmm.
but the greatest goals are set after we clear our blocks, when we have greater clarity
Oh my
of ourselves.
gosh. Say that again. The greatest goals are set after we clear our blocks.
That's right.
Wow. Squad, listen to that. Think about that. Like you can't really see your capacity. You can't really see how far that you can really go without clearing the blocks. And that's what my good friend Cheryl does. And she helps you to do that. That's amazing. Thank you for, lack of a better term, dumbing it down. Because that was a beautiful way to say, now I can say, okay, listen, I'm a big believer. Hey, the top of one peak is the bottom of the next. But before you
Yes.
even start climbing, you have got to clear those. And let me ask you something. As they evolve through with your system over, I'm just going to shorten it to divine. That's it's easier for me to say. As they're kind of going through, do you evolve them to different levels through your coaching, or are you someone that's kind of like me that I kind of want to be fired within about 5 to 6 months of working with somebody, right? And I want them to go out and I will have accountability sessions through the year, but like, how is it? Do you have an evolving system within your coaching business, or what? How are you with your clients?
Yes. What I prefer deep and intense to begin with for 10 or 11 weeks.
Okay.
So we work together for 10 weeks, once a week, and then I end it with a chakra reading and I let them know where they're at now. And so I'm helping people become their own energy worker so they can continue to do the work. And
Ooh,
so we do that
love it.
for a period of time, and it's really about their self-discovery. So then they're often, and I remember one of my clients saying at the end, can it we're going to do her chakra reading at the end, and I said, so what's your intention? And she said, can it really be this good? Can my life really be this good? Like she was,
Yeah,
it's about the experience. Don't
100%.
listen to what I say. Let
Yeah,
me help you. Just like with your coach and the chandelier, it's having the experience.
right.
And then for those people that want to continue the work, I do group.
Okay,
And so
that's
that
great.
where we can be vulnerable, we do the work together. And
Accountability holding, right?
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. It's actually over 9 months. And then we end
nice.
that with a group retreat where we're all
That's
together
awesome.
in person. Yeah.
And is it mostly all women? Do you take men on at all?
I do take men. Of
Okay.
course I take
Okay, I
men.
just saw kind of read in the and again, I guess I'm wrong because I call it see it's really women based unless I read it wrong. I apologize. So
It's
they do take
mostly
squad, they take men. So we are in.
men.
So
I like men. I grew up with four brothers. I love
okay,
men. I find that it's mostly women that find me. I have worked with men and I
sure.
do work with
That's
men,
beautiful. That's
but
good
it's
to know because I have some men that I feel would need your services with that I'm actually coaching. And I have no problem. I have no ego when it comes to coaching because with this podcast, I'm blessed to have interviewed 400 of different people in different backgrounds because our credo here is we don't want to have anyone to feel like they have no one. Right. And that comes from my background. I've told my story on stages. It's been sought after by Hollywood and stuff like that. So it's like that's what I whether you're looking to level up in the C-suite world or the spiritual world, I got someone for you. So I'm so blessed to have you here. Have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
yes,
It's
I did.
legit 40 years old tomorrow. Okay.
Is it really?
So, yes, yes, it came out at the end of February in 1985. So, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Cheryl. Okay. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on her? Not so much to change anything, because your path is pretty freaking awesome, but to maybe help her shorten a learning curve or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker on what she's looking to do.
On what she's looking to do as my 22-year-old
Yeah,
self?
there's maybe give her a little guidance, like shorten a learning curve for her. What have you
Oh,
learned in the
number
past
one
so many years?
thing, number one, discover your worth and
Okay.
know how much you matter. That was if someone would have told me that and reflected that back to me and held me in that, my life would have been different.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's go a little bit deeper on that. Discover your worth. What do we mean by that? Because it can come from different angles. It could discover your worth with money, discover your worth as a human, discover your worth. Like what route are we going with? Discover your worth.
I'm feeling emotional to say this because it's so
Please.
important. Discover your worth as a divine being.
Yes.
We are all divine beings. We are all made of love. And I have to tell you, we have been, so many of us have been conditioned that God is outside of us. And we pray to the God
Right.
outside of us. As
Yep.
soon as you start praying to the God inside you, your life will change.
Yes.
It's about that discovery of we're all aspects
Thank
of God,
you.
the creator
Thank you.
source, and we're
Thank you.
all here to express
Right.
in our own unique ways. So when I say discover your worth, that's really the place to
I
get.
love that. I hold up this. If you're watching on Vimeo or YouTube, Squad, people know that I coach from here, which is the right in the mind. I'm a mindset coach, but I love that you said God is inside you, because just like I have biceps, I have leg muscles. If I don't exercise them, they atrophy, right? They go away. There's a ways with your practice to exercise to bring God out within you to keep it strong. Am I kind of seeing that the right way?
What a great analogy. Yeah. It's our heart can atrophy if we're not using it, if we're not tuned into the love and light.
Right.
And what often happens with people, we have to move away from God so we can return to God.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So how does Cheryl want her dash remember? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the line. But how does Cheryl want her dash remember?
I have my first book ended up being about the throat chakra, the shining throat chakra. And I actually wanted to write the book on death.
Okay.
And I have this practice that I'll do. And it started when I was traveling in South America and Africa. I sold my interior design business and I traveled for 20 months. And I used to do a lot of things just sort of based on what are the odds I'll die if I do this?
Sure.
And it'd be like, oh, 50-50 chance. Well, maybe I don't want to do that. But we can go to and be on our deathbed and make decisions in our lives now. How do you want to be feeling on your deathbed? You want to be saying, whoa, that was such an adventure, so cool. I'm so grateful. And what do you want to be grateful for?
Right.
So I'll make decisions in my life based on how do I want to feel on my deathbed. And I think we make
that's strong.
No regrets.
Yes.
No regrets, folks.
Decisions on how you want to feel on your deathbed. That is one of the best answers. I asked that to every single person in the dash question. And that's one of the best answers I've ever had. Make decisions today. Like, obviously, I could pull out here on PGA Boulevard and get sideswiped and meet my creator then, right? or fall out of the plane on my way to Scottsdale tonight or something. But then that's God's will, okay? Which I get it. But if not, make the decisions. Like I always say, kind of like plan to live to 100 and something, because 108 years, I believe, is like 1,000,000 minutes or something like that, right? Or 114. I'd love to live that long, right? And stay with the same energy that I have now. But you also kind of look at like it could end today. So, but I love the planning out that you kind of brought out there, which leads me to say, what is Cheryl's definition of a life well lived?
Of a life
well lived.
To really express yourself fully and receive others fully. Yeah. We're all here to express ourselves in many unique ways, and expressing yourself.
You nailed something. Yeah.
Just enjoying a flower, but having a conversation.
You and I, man, we got to get on stage together. Okay, that's the bottom line. I'm gonna ask you for your one sheet and your sizzle reel. I'm gonna have my agent book us. It's the bottom line. You just mentioned a flower. You said express and receive, because so many people, including my clients, will not know how to receive at all. And the way that I kind of set it up for them, you just mentioned a flower. When we breathe in what? Oxygen, right? We breathe out carbon dioxide. The flower breathes in carbon dioxide, it breathes out oxygen. The flower doesn't have a freaking choice. Why do we give ourselves one? And I love that you said express fully and receive fully. That makes badass sense. Thank you so much for saying that. It's a way to see it. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. We are back. And Cheryl, like I said, we're going to make it happen. Her name's Angela. She'll probably be reaching out to you. She's my agent. And we need to get on stages together, because when she hears this, she'll know why. And we definitely will meet up. and talk about some of these questions 15, 20 minutes. But today, you have 5 seconds with no explanations, and I promise you they can all be answered that way. You ready to level up?
Yes.
All right, here we go. That was confident. Yes, I love it because some people are like, yeah, you're ready to rock. I know it is. Sure. What is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Feel your fear and do it anyway.
Yes. Do it scared, right? Love it. Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
That I move physically. My number one thing is I meditate every morning and tune in with myself
Beautiful.
and take care of myself physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Yes, that's phenomenal. So you see me kind of walking down the street or at an event, you're like, man, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums. His energy's just really not quite there. Other than your books, which we'll get to here in a little bit, but what book might you hand me that's really kind of flipped the switch in you that I would really need to read?
Oh gosh, there's right now I'm reading Paul Selig.
Okay.
Paul Selig channels these guides, and I'm just really his work really resonates with me.
Okay. Beautiful. Love it. Your most commonly used emoji when you text.
Is the face with the stars for eyes.
Love it. Love it. Nicknames growing up?
My nickname when I was a baby, when I was born, they called me Bear.
Love
And
it.
then I just stayed as Cheryl.
Got love it, love it, love it. Any hidden talent and or superpowers that you have that nobody really knows about until now?
That I'm really good at cooking duck liver pate. Moostic.
Woohoo! Love that. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Oh, chess.
Gotcha. Headline for your life.
Love as best you can.
Yes. Go to ice cream flavor.
I'm sorry.
Go to
Ice cream?
ice cream flavor.
Strawberry.
Okay, love it. There's a sandwich called the Bear Cheryl. What's on that sandwich? What are we eating?
For some reason, I'm saying roast beef,
Okay.
mayonnaise and mustard,
Okay.
lettuce and onions.
Love it. We are besties, I'll tell you right now. Favorite charity and or organization like to give your time and or money to?
Oh, I can't remember. It's Global Giving Foundation for girls in Africa to stay in school and education for girls
Thank you.
in Africa.
That's amazing. And when you get that link, maybe text it to me or shoot it, and Donnie will make sure it goes in the show notes. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah. And last question, you can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I am going to say 70s.
Love it. Love it. So I graduated high school in 1990, right? So the 80s was my jam, right? But the 70s, when I'm editing a podcast or re-listening, when I re-listen to your podcast, or even in my creative, because I'm writing my first book, I always had the 70s on because they're storytellers in the 70s, right? There's like the Eagles, Gordon Lightfoot, James Taylor, Jim Croce. It's like they have the stories, and it brings me back to my mom and my dad and memories of them kind of dancing on the floor to the stuff. So the 70s is the best storytelling decade. It will never be matched, ever, ever, if you really look at what was written or what was put out in the music in the 70s. That's beautiful.
It was wild. It was wild. The 70s.
And I'm sure you might have some pretty cool stories about the 70s. So that's, even though you don't look it, if you're watching on Vimeo, YouTube, anything like, she's absolutely stunning woman. And like you do very much take care of yourself. And that's very appreciative, especially from the Time to Shine Today squad. Okay. So Miss Cheryl, how can we find you?
You can find me, you can enter starofdivinelight.com. That's my website. You can Google search my name, Stelte. And if you really want to talk with me, you can just type in callwithcheryl.com. And Cheryl is CAGRYL.
Callwithcheryl.com. Squad, if you're watching, I have her website. Earlier, I had her books up as well that we're going to do a book giveaway here in a second. We're going to go through the 2 books, but this is fantastic website, and you can go there or just go to callwithcheryl.com. And how about we kind of pop into the throat book, the Heal Your Neck Issues and Let Your Throat Chakra, which came out. When did that one come out then? In 2020. Then did you kind of write it through COVID or before COVID, or?
It was as soon as lockdown hit, the book was published. And so my physical launch and everything sort of went to the wayside.
Okay. Love it. Give us a little synopsis.
Oh my goodness. Like I said, I didn't plan on writing this book with this topic.
Hmm.
And what I had realized over the years, decades of healing that I did, I realized most, if not all of my clients had throat chakra issues.
Ooh,
And I didn't want to write a book on the throat chakra because I thought I have the most and worst throat chakra issues of all.
wow.
But what I realized, it's such an important chakra because it's so much about speaking your truth, feeling seen and heard, and our culture over the decades hasn't supported that well. And so we all have something to say.
Wow.
We all are here to express our divine selves. And so the throat chakra is so important, and it helps people clear the blocks to really expressing themselves fully and feeling safe and stable in doing that.
Love it. And it allows the energy or the God to kind of like really live out through you, correct? Love
Yes.
it. So how about the book Blocked to Powerful? Because that's another book giveaway I'm going to do here. And also all the links will be in the show notes squad to go pick them up. They're fantastically affordable as well. So this is the other book here, From Blocked to Powerful, A Spiritual Guide to Unlocking Clarity and Authentic Power.
Yes.
Looks a
And
little
so
bit more recent.
everyone that comes to me, they lack clarity. They
Mhm.
know they have blocks, they don't know what they're about, and they really want the clarity. And it's clarity through what our blocks are, that we can release them, that we move into the clarity of who we're really meant to be and why we're here.
Right.
And so it's what is powerful. It's moving into our most authentic selves, our divine selves,
Right.
and why we're here on this planet. And I don't know that the journey ends. I mean, I keep growing. I
Right.
don't know that it ever stops.
100%. And again, we have to water ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves so that as we mature, as we grow, we can stay on point. And I love that you really do a deep dive into the subconscious as well, because that's where a lot of my coaching lives, is with the reticular activating system and kind of having the subconscious really seeking out those opportunities. And I guess maybe that's my different way of kind of removing a chakra. I'm not saying the throat, but unleashing the chakra, as well as really digging into the mindset. That's
Yeah.
where I kind of live as well. And Scott, I'm going to do a 2-book giveaway in each one of them. For the first person that puts, or I'm sorry, the first 2 people, 4 people actually, that just puts share bear, CHERBEAR, into any of our social. And then after you put share bear, just put in which book that you would like. And in Time to Shine today, we'll actually mail it out to you. And also, Squad, I always buy way more than what I say. So we're blessed. I have to brag about this. We did 16,000 in book sales through our podcast interviewees. And that's like $10, $20 books. So thank you so much for really supporting my interviewees. And with that being said, Miss Cheryl, please leave us one last knowledge nugget that we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
You are absolutely worthy of expressing all that you truly are as a divine being. And it's really going inward and discovering that. I invite you to go inward and discover all that you're truly meant to be.
Love that. In Squad, I have pages of notes. I don't know about you, but I, I align so much with my good friend Cheryl, whose favorite thing is personal growth. That every single soul on the planet have come here to grow. We're such aligned with Cheryl and I with our brother's suicide, which really pushed us into our own healing. Someone like Cheryl, she really started meditating, developed a skill to access that subconscious. Somehow she knew some way she was going to succeed. She didn't really realize it for years that she was clearing her own blocks to her empowerment. But when she tapped into it, she got a gift that she could pass on to you, right? She loves seeing the greatness in others and supporting their journey. If you're going to start working with a coach, ask your coach, how far do you think I can really go? What is my capacity you see me in? You remember, you are way more powerful than you even believe. And someone like Cheryl is going to help you remove those blocks to really dive into that power. She wants you to express fully and receive fully. She wants you to do it scared. She said, face the fear and do it anyway. And lastly, you are absolutely worthy of expressing who you are as a divine being, but that's got to start inward. And again, that's where Cheryl will help you unlock it, that God inside you, and get that energy out so you can express who you are as a divine being. And that's what my good friend Cheryl does. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's earned her varsity letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on. You're absolutely beautiful inside and out, just a fantastic soul. And I'm so happy to be aligned with you. I absolutely love your guts.
Thank you ever so much, Scott. It really has been an honor to be here with you.
Yay. Thank you so much, love. Talk to you soon. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today, proudly brought to you by Inlet Properties and Investments. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on the Time to Shine Today podcast, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you'd like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also, there you will see our recommended resources. We hope you will help support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have been listening to, it'd be great if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's your time to shine.